What's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel, and in this video I want to give you guys my current take on Biontech stock, or ticker symbol BNTX. Alright, so the stock has been on my radar for a while now, considering I do cover this sector a lot. Read a few articles on it. I see a lot of you guys mentioning it in the comments, but I do want to preface this by saying that I'm not currently invested in the stock. Although after doing some digging in the company today, after doing some research for this video, I'm definitely considering establishing a position in it, considering this is a cool company doing very cool things. Alright, so over the course of this video we will take a look at the charts on TradingView, as you can see here in the back. I'll give you guys a very general technical analysis of it, let you guys know what I'm thinking in regard to price action. But first, as always, we have to establish an understanding of what Biontech is, not just BNTX, but Biontech the company, what they do, what they specialize in, and we'll also take a look at a few articles that cover recent news that were the catalyst for this exceptional price action that we've seen over the past month or so. All right, so before we get into it, I will ask you guys to please give the video a like if you do gain value from it, or if you are early to Biontech like I wasn't, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and check out my complete portfolio and daily newsletter. First link in the description if you're interested. All right, so again, you can see this chart here. We'll get into this after we establish an understanding of what it is. So let's kick this off with the Biontech website, biotech.de. I believe this is a German company. So you guys know, if you've seen these before, I always like looking at their sites. It's not 100% necessary, but I like to see how companies brand themselves and how they explain themselves in their own words. All right, so Biontech, our vision. We aspire to individualize cancer medicine. All right, so we are a next-generation immunotherapy powerhouse pioneering individualized immunotherapies. So just that in itself, I'm a health geek. I'm a biohacker, a self-proclaimed biohacker. For those of you who don't know, I'm very interested in this stuff. So I think individualized therapies are the future. This is like the future of medicine. So this is huge in itself. This is a big green flag in my book. Biontech was founded in 2008 on the understanding that every cancer patient's tumor is unique, and therefore each patient's treatment should be individualized. To translate this idea into reality, we have combined groundbreaking research with cutting-edge technologies to develop pioneering therapeutics for cancer and beyond. Okay, so these are just fancy words that almost every one of these companies uses, but the more you dig, I'm not going to completely dig into this company today and like the kind of the scientific biological side of things. Again, you guys can do that on your own time if you would like to. It's always good to do your research and due diligence prior to investing in a company, especially if it's for the long term. But this is a cool company. I want to keep this as short as possible, though. Again, you guys feel free to check out this website for yourself if you want to dig deeper. All right, so we'll go on to some news. This is a press release that they released. When was it? I believe it was the beginning of January, but it's titled Pfizer and Biotech announce early positive data from an ongoing phase 1 out of 2 study, an mRNA-based vaccine candidate against SARS-CoV-2. All right, so again, I just talked about cancer, but the reasoning behind the recent price action, as in a lot of this sector, as you guys, I'm sure a lot of you know, is because they are working on a COVID vaccine. Okay, so very hot sector right now, obviously very hot subject, COVID causing one of the greatest economic downturns of our lifetimes. So very big deal. It makes sense that these companies, that these stocks are being compensated for working on such a big problem. All right, I will just read this highlighted parts. Further data from the ongoing phase 1 out of 2 clinical trial of our vaccine candidates will enable selection of a lead candidate and dose level for a large global phase 2B out of 3 safety and efficacy study that may begin as early as July 2020. Efforts to manufacture the leading candidates at risk are gearing up in case the safety and efficacy study is successful and the vaccine receives a regulatory approval. The companies are expecting to manufacture up to 100 million doses by the end of 2020 and potentially more than 1.2 billion doses by the end of 2021. All right, so this is what people want to see right here. This is the news that led to an initial pop that we will look at in the charts after this. But I mean, great news. You want to see big numbers like that. Obviously, again, this is a global pandemic. This is a huge deal. So when you're seeing numbers like this, that is very promising. Partnered up with Pfizer to develop this vaccine. Pfizer, a pharmaceutical powerhouse. So it's good when I mean, two minds are better than one, okay, the old saying. So it's good that these two companies are working towards a vaccine, because again, like when two people are working on something in collaboration, especially two very well established, very competent companies in this case, that is a very good sign. Okay, so we will go on to this last piece of this last article, most recent one, prior to getting into the charts. This is a Motley Fool article by Jim Crumley. Pfizer and BioNTech get fast track designation for 2 COVID-19 vaccines. So German BioNTech, Biotech SE, yeah, they're their ticker is kind of weird because, again, they are a German company, although they're on the NASDAQ listed. BNTX and its partner Pfizer announced that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has granted fast-track designation to 2 of 4 vaccines the companies are developing for SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. The fast-track designation means that BioNTech and Pfizer are eligible for more frequent meetings and written communication with the FDA supports an expedited review process for the vaccine candidates. Okay, so again, this is kind of like the Operation Warp Speed that the Trump administration, the U.S. government, has enlisted and is enlisting a lot of these companies into. It's just making sure that these companies have access directly to the FDA to get through the regulatory hoops that can be a pain a lot of the time, because everybody, literally everyone on Earth, wants a vaccine established as fast as possible. Okay, so the decision by the agency was based on the early data from a phase 1 out of 2 study of one of the 2 vaccine candidates that the companies released on July 1st. Okay, so that was the date that this one was released, was July 1st. So this did lead to a significant spike in price action, as did this, which we will look at now. So on the charts, this was the beginning of this week. This was July 10th after they released the fast track news. Okay, so you saw this gap up again. It kicked off this week, July 10th. Sorry if you're watching this in the future, but July 10th kicked off from $70, and over the course of the week, it's hit a high of $85. Okay, on the day, it's up just about 8%. So it's been looking really good lately. And I mean, again, I'm just covering that, but honestly, the daily doesn't matter when you're looking at the longer term. Okay, so let's look at the 3-month chart on Biontech. Okay, so the same with a lot of these companies, like you're seeing crazy price action. And I do want to say the reason that I haven't paid more attention to Biontech is because if you guys have been keeping up with the channel, you know I cover so many names within this sector. It's hard to follow each one because it is so saturated. And to be honest, Biontech's market cap is significantly larger than a lot of players that I cover, actually all of them except for Moderna. So that turned me away from it initially, just because the bigger the market cap, and again, 17 billion really isn't big in the grand scheme of the equity markets, but a larger market cap does correlate with somewhat slower growth. But I mean, again, 20 billion is small. This is a huge global issue. So, and I cover Moderna a lot, which is even a bigger company. So, in retrospect, kind of a poor argument on my side. But again, this is a cool company, so I definitely will consider establishing a position. Okay, so we are going back to May. I mean, even before May. Let's go to 6 month here. It saw some crazy price action. Obviously, this is initially when news of the pandemic and a lot of these biotechs working towards a vaccine for the coronavirus came out. So back in mid-March, the company, we did see this crazy spike all the way from $20 to $30 to about $100. So you see just about a 3x over the course of, what is this, like a few days, which again makes sense. This is like peak shock in terms of the pandemic, global lockdown and whatnot. So it makes sense that a lot of companies, you see a similar thing in Moderna do, and a lot of these other players within this sector. You saw this huge gap up. You see the bubble pop. This one fell pretty hard, and it has been capitulating. And if you guys have followed the channel, you guys know my good old 2-wave theory. You see the first wave, you see that parabolic price action, especially within this sector. The 2-wave theory applies, especially now. It's bubbles. Okay, so you see a bubble up. You see it pop, you see some pessimism, you see it capitulate for a long time. Okay, and obviously this hasn't been going sideways. There is a lot of volatility in here, so 36 here, up to like 60. So these are huge price swings that may not look super impressive when compared to this insane one, but there is a lot of volatility in here. And nonetheless, this company is still making tangible progress, and I do believe that this is the beginning of a second wave. Okay, this phase 2, wave 2, 2-wave theory. All right, and to sum it up real quick, as my thoughts are with a lot of the other players within this sector that are seeing some gains right now, you see green across the board all over here. I do think that at the very least, if not more, I do believe it will exceed its previous high. At the very least, I think Biontech will come up and at least touch and test this line of resistance that's set back in March at about $104. Again, they're making way more tangible progress. This was hype. This is actually a bubble. The price action now, as with a lot of these companies, are actually following good, tangible news that they're releasing and progress that they're making in regard to producing a vaccine treatment, whatever it is that they're working on. Okay, so I do believe that at the very least, Biontech, over the course of the next few weeks, will come up to try to retest this $104 level. But I do want to go back in time a little more. I know this is a fairly young company. When did this thing IPO? So this looks a little wild. This is on the weekly chart, but this company IPO just back in like mid 2019. Okay, so actually less than, what is this, less than a year ago? Yeah, so less than a year ago, fairly new company. IPO'd around a price of $13. So obviously it's seen like a 6 to 8x at this point, like probably like 6x. So very good growth. But again, we are entering the era of the biotech, where biotechs are just about to light up. And as I have been saying lately, I will say it again though, sorry if you've been watching my videos, I do believe that this biotech sector, especially these stocks that are fighting COVID and trying to work on a vaccine treatment, etc., will act as a hedge to general equities if they do see a downturn. Okay, so they do well when the equity markets do well, and they, not every time, but enough for me to be confident to tell you, they do perform well when the markets do bad, because when the general markets do bad, investors want to take their capital from the stocks that aren't performing and put them into stocks that they believe will provide returns and are recession proof. Okay, and this sector has proven to be somewhat recession proof, again, because it is trying to fight the reason for the recession. So that's kind of like the at least what I believe is like the psychological aspect of that. So markets do bad, these stocks do good. Markets do good, these stocks do good. So it's a very although it may seem super inflated, let's go back to like the 6-month chart. Like it seems super inflated now, and it may be like, trust me guys, like what I'm saying right now could absolutely not play out. These stocks could crash tomorrow. Okay, but I think this is a relatively safe bet right now. This sector comprises probably the largest chunk of my portfolio if you break it down by sectors. So I'm very bullish on the sector as a whole. Biontech is looking promising right now. I will show you guys what else, this crazy trend line that I see here. So let's maybe go to the yearly. So it's kind of following this, and again, you got, like, I'm not getting super technical, you guys. What I have found to be most effective over the course of this market, where there's just so much crazy FOMO, so much retail, so much new money, just so much wild price action, it's just general trend lines, because they've been acting so well, okay, and they've been doing me so good. Okay, so if we do follow this general trend line, I mean, this is a fairly conservative. You see it touched, I'm using December 19, January 20 as these two peaks. It did hit this solid red candle, which I like. I'm not going to go like that. I feel like that is, whenever I draw trend lines, I never go to the absolute high of a candle. I like to kind of average it. I feel like this is a safe bet, again, because this was a bubble. But you do see a candle, like you see some resistance and support in this area in these two candles. Okay, so I will use that to draw this trend line, and if this falls through, if this trend line plays out, it's extended a little bit, we're looking at, over the course of the next few weeks, a potential high of like $150, okay? So obviously, again, this isn't 100% guaranteed by any means. This could very well not happen. It's actually a very optimistic price target. This is almost a 2x from where it's currently at, which would put it at like a $30 billion market cap. Okay, so keep that in mind, guys. But if it does continue to follow this trend and does come up and retest this upper trend line, then I mean, there's not much to say there. That's very bullish. And again, very bullish, very optimistic. Do not expect that to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. I will say that much. So we'll call it there, guys. I will make more videos on this in the future, in future stock talks and whatnot. Again, I will definitely consider establishing a position. If you guys do want to know exactly which positions, I'll probably take out some call options on it. If you guys want to know that, check out my complete portfolio daily newsletter. First link in the description. Once again, exactly as it states, it's a complete breakdown of my entire portfolio, all call options, put options, stock positions, cryptos, and along with that, I do send out a newsletter during market hours of every trading day, explaining which trades I made that day, new positions I'm closing, as well as my general thoughts on the equity markets as a whole. So check that out if you're interested at all. If not, no worries. We will call it there, guys. Let me know in the comments if I'm a fool for being this late to Biontech, and let me know if you've been in it, and if you think there's any other cool projects in regard to the actual company that you want to share with me, and you think that I missed out on. All right, so look forward to talking to you guys down there. Look forward to talking to you guys next time as well. So until then, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace. Later.